All right, guys. Our next guest is coming off an impressive win over John Moraga at UFC 187. He is the former UFC Flyweight title challenger and has a plethora of nicknames such as Joby-Wan Kenobi and the Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. Joseph Benavidez, welcome back to Submission Radio. How are you?
Great, man. Always a pleasure to be on. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we love you having back on the show. First of all, congratulations on your big win over John Moraga at UFC 187. Tell us, how did Joseph Benavidez celebrate afterwards? We know that obviously food would be involved, but are we talking Vegas night with the boys? Are we talking dinner with the missus?
So happy, super happy, going back after the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Cool thing now the UFC does is they have a green room for the fighters with ice cream and cookies and like meat and everything. So actually ate in there. I usually celebrate with pizza because by the time you get out of the press conference, you're starving. All you can order is pizza. But anyway, so I ate in there, went to the press conference. Honestly, man, I'm super chill. So after that, I was done. Me and my fiance, Megan Olivi, literally just walked back to our hotel room. A few people were going to go out, and we're just like, dude, we're just going to come over here and sit. Ate some leftover Italian food from the night before, and we just chilled. And actually my cousins, who I'm super close to, like came over because they didn't want to go out either, and we just talked like for a few hours all night, just chatting and laughing. So just me and some loved ones in my hotel room, and then that was about it, man. As far as that night goes, I never go out. You know, I don't drink. Like I made a post the other day that said like I'm happy I'm not where I'm 10 years ago. That meant I was actually, people were like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? But I'm actually 10 years sober as of like now. So it's just like I don't really drink. I don't go out. Just super simple. And yeah, me and my girl just hung out in the room and chatted all night, man. But that's what we do. Other than that, since then it's been full on out. Food binge, food fest. We did like food tasting for our wedding, so that's a celebration. And, like engagement photos, all that good stuff. And now, other than that, man, it's just back to work. Are you training today?
Well, how can you debate that? That sounds like the perfect night after a big fight. You know, we had your buddy Lance Palmer on the show. He was actually talking to us while you were getting ready for the fight, and he was talking about a similar. That's right, that was us, and he was talking about a similar night out that he had in a hotel room where he woke up the following morning naked with TJ Dillashaw. So we thought he might have had some kind of influence over the post-fight victory celebrations for you guys. You just mentioned that you guys are looking through menus.
They don't call him the party for no reason.
Well, I know that's right. Well, they don't call you the Beefcake for no reason either. But I was going to say,
exactly.
You just mentioned that you guys set a date and you look like you're getting married soon. When is the big wedding happening? Can you share it with the fans? When are you guys looking to officially tie the knot?
Yeah, we can share it. We're gonna get married in October, beginning of October, in Las Vegas. So,
Perfect.
Should be awesome, man. I'm excited.
Well, I mean, my birthday's in October 19th, so if it's anywhere around then, nice. I mean, I'll consider it partially like a birthday gift.
Might not be able to make it.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. I may have other plans. Nice. I appreciate the invitation nonetheless. I'm sure it was inferred.
Who am I going to bring, Casper? If you can't make it, it's going to be an awkward +1. I'm going to have to start searching around. Yeah, definitely don't want to bring the girlfriend. Now, Joe, let's switch gears for a second. You mentioned that it was a big night, a very good victory for you. In a lot of ways, it was unfortunate for you guys that UFC 187 was packed with exciting and nail-biting fights all the way through, which sort of made it difficult to win the bonus. However, you and John definitely had one of the most exciting contests of the evening. Did you think that you guys had a shot at winning the fight of the night bonus at any point? Obviously, you guys probably were really close to edging it out.
Yeah, you know, after the fight, you kind of like, everyone's like, oh, it was a tremendous fight. Awesome, man. Fight of the night so far. And you're like, that's cool. Cowboy Cerrone's still up, and he's Mr. Bonus. You know, we got 2 title fights. So you don't really think of that. You know, you go out there. I mean, you always want one, but, you know, go out there, get the win, and, you know, everyone enjoyed the fight. That was big. But, you know, I was kicking off the pay-per-view, and it was just an honor to fight on that card. So the exciting fights after me were just, it ended up being a perfect night because, like, I feel the pay-per-view just built so good throughout the night, just like a good pay-per-view should. Like, it kind of built. The first fight, super exciting, scrap, full display of technical, you know, every aspect of MMA. The second fight, just this heavyweight slobber knocker, you know, short round, how the heavyweights do. And then, you know, got into more fights, 2 title fights. So it was honestly just an honor to kick off such a great card. Like, people already saying it's the card of the year and this and that. So bonuses, I mean, that's always what you want, but it's, something you go out there and fight and hope for. To fight on such an amazing card that, it was like nice just to kick that off. And, I think they did a good job of putting us on the top card, and, we went out and delivered. But yeah, man, like I said, just any night to get a win is good, and to fight on the card of that magnitude is awesome. Obviously the bonus would be the cherry on top.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the biggest reasons why it was such an exciting fight was obviously it was a toe-to-toe back-and-forth battle. You guys both landed some big shots. Were you surprised at all by John Moraga's heart and resilience in the fight?
Yeah, I was. Obviously you go out there and you respect everybody, but you always go. I mean, I go out there and it's weird because you expect to dominate everyone, but yet you are prepared for like the hardest fight of your life. Like, anyway, that's how I look at it. I'm like, all right, I'm ready to dominate this guy, but I'm also ready for the hardest 15 minutes of my life. So anytime it's somewhere in between, or the guy's tough, which that's all I'm going to fight nowadays. It's nice, man. It's a great challenge, and Moraga was amazing. He was incredibly resilient. I know I caught him with a big shot in the first round, and put him down, and he could have folded there, but he kept his composure. And the best way I can describe it is he really fought like a veteran. I mean, I know he has somewhat experience. He's older than me, but he fought really smart on the ground, on the feet. Like distance and timing is something I say you really can't teach, and he had that down. So I had a lot of respect for him going into the fight, and just even more now, going into competing with him for the 15-minute fight like we did.
Yeah, for sure. And it was a great fight. Just wondering, what was your game plan going into that one, Joe? Because obviously it ended up being a classic, instant classic. But in your mind, did you have a different game plan going into that fight?
I don't really come with the kind of like game plan kind of stuff as far as like I'm going to get him against the cage. I just knew I would kind of be the faster person on the feet, but I knew he was more of like a counter striker with power, and he did good. I felt still I was maybe a little more active, but he, had his good timing and his counter shots. And just looking at his fights through time, how he's lost was getting taken down and grinded out, and that just happens to be a strong suit of mine. And I knew if I could do that, I saw him, he would come back tired on the feet if he did, get into a rest in exchange. So it was nice for me, man, to grind the guy out. I feel I've never done that, but also on the feet, like it was a full aspect of MMA, and that's what I like to go out and do, is kind of mix everything up. I feel when I got in the UFC, I was known for a submission guy, and people stopped kind of worrying about my ground game. So it's been nice to show it, the last few fights. But yeah, as far as the game plan, it went pretty well how it went, other than him, just being even more skilled than I thought he would be.
Yeah, it's interesting that you're talking about grinding out the fight. When we broke the card down and the fight down, we definitely attributed, your wrestling and your grinding in that fight to obviously getting the win. Just wondering, speaking of the whole striking, how has training been going without Duane Ludwig? Obviously, everybody's striking sort of went up to the next level when he was around. Do you feel that your striking is improving as much as when Duane was coaching you?
It's just different aspects that you're going to concentrate on. Obviously, Duane, he's an amazing. He's a kickboxing expert, staying Muay Thai specialist, and I'm still working with Duane. I've had 6 months since my last fight, and I've made multiple trips to Colorado to train with him. So, I feel I'm not losing anything that I worked with Duane, because, like, the stuff that I've worked, I continue to work, and I've gone with him back and forth a few times. But I'm continuing to improve in, like, other aspects of stand-up. As far as I got a boxing coach, Joey Rodriguez, who's in my corner, and that's the first straight boxing coach I've had in a while. Moraga is a great boxer as well, so I didn't get to display it as much, but I feel I'm improving in that aspect as well. So it's really not about changing a style, but it's more about adding on to some stuff and getting an open line, and making really the best of the situation we have, but continuing my relationship with Duane, because I've made it no secret that I think he is the best stand-up, coach in the world. And so I think that there's no reason for me not to work with him. We have a good relationship. So I'd be doing a disservice of not using, someone like that, that I have a good relationship with. So,
yeah, no, for sure.
Like I said, just continuing to improve in other aspects.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we had Lance obviously on last week, and he mentioned that it's a different experience having Martin Kampman there. Martin's at a different point in his coaching career that Dwayne was in. Obviously, Martin's still trying to pick up a lot of things that you need to do to be a great coach. Just wondering, working with Martin, are you able to learn anything new? Are you guys able to sort of add things to your game, or is it still a process where he's picking up skills and it's a process where he'll get up to the level where Dwayne was when he left?
Yeah, I mean it's a process, you know. It's his really first, you know, head coaching job. So, you know, he's learning. The thing with Martin is he is a skilled fighter, and you know, he has the knowledge. It's just as far as like getting it across and, you know, taking the coaching aspect of it. So, you know, Martin runs practices and you know, has a great, you know, what surprised me about him is his knowledge and stuff on the ground, you know. Really good with positions and technique on the ground. But, you know, even when Martin's career, you know, everyone looked at him as a really technical fighter. So, you know, it's just a matter of him getting, you know, the techniques across, you know, to the team. But, you know, like Lance said, and kind of like everyone says, like, it's his first coaching job. So he's really just getting used to it, you know, and coaching the best team in the world. You know, there's a ton of stuff that, you know, you're going to teach, you know, all the best fighters in the world.
Yeah, sure. Now, Joe, John Dodson fought right before you. Just wondering, did you at all get a chance to watch his fight with Zach Makovsky, and what did you think of Dodson's performance?
I was warming up during the fight live, but I did watch it after, just because, you know, that's my weight class. Those are two of the best guys in it, and a lot of people were talking about it. I watched it. I thought it was a really close contest between two, you know, world-class skilled fighters. Like, the skill, obviously, what everyone says, you know, the pace and everything was kind of slow and everything as far as their division, but the skill level was very high in that fight as far as the technical aspects of it. And, you know, people just got to realize these are two of the best guys in the world going at it, who've trained with each other, you know, before and kind of know each other. So Makovsky's a good fighter, and he fought a really good fight, you know, and I think people have just come to expect Dodson to kind of just clobber everyone and knock them out. You know, but you know, he was fighting a really skilled guy in Makovsky, you know, gave him an excellent fight. So it was a skilled contest, but you know, I wasn't surprised nor disappointed or anything. I watched it with, you know, full attention and, you know, enjoyed the technical, you know, aspect of it.
Yeah, no, that's a great analysis there, because people were really critical about Dodson. A lot of them saying he looked a lot slower, didn't look like himself. And obviously he's come back from another ACL injury. You know, just wondering.
That's another thing, you know.
Yeah, well, what do you think? Do you think he still has what it takes to go out there and look like the John Dodson of old and, you know, give Demetrious Johnson a run for his money?
Yeah, I'm sure he does. You know, like, I mean, that's another thing. On top of fighting a great fighter like Makovsky, he is coming off a year layoff, you know, off an injury. That's not easy for anyone to come back from, and he still went out there and, you know, beat a world-class guy. So, you know, only time will tell, you know. I mean, I don't really know. I've never been through an injury, and I don't know Dodson personally and, you know, his characteristics and everything. So, you know, and his work ethic and everything, but I'm sure he works hard to get where he is. So he'll work to get to where he was before the injury.
Let me ask you something, Joe. During the post-fight presser, you were asked if you were a John Dodson fan, and you said not quite yet. Any particular reason why you're not yet a Dodson fan? And what would I'm curious, because I feel like there was no follow-up. What would Dodson have to do to make you a fan?
That's a tough. I mean, I'm not a fan of Dodson. I mean, like, he's an all right guy. I'll talk to him, but I don't look at Dodson and be like, oh, like, that guy's cool, and I want to see his fights. It's just, and he asked me up there. And it's just funny. It's like we're setting up that fight potentially to happen at some point. Now I'm going to be like, oh, I'm a fan of this guy, you know. Like, if someone else would have asked it, it might have been, you know, I could have, you know, maybe gave a different answer. But the fact that he kind of not had the nerve but put me on the spot to answer it, is he deserved an answer like that. You know what I mean? Like, it was like if someone else would have asked it, I probably would have just been like, oh, yeah, you know, he's exciting to watch. He has knockout power. He's athletic. But the fact that he, like, wanted to put me on the spot like that, I had to give him just, you know, a kind of, you know, roundabout answer like that. I just said not quite, which is funny because the way it led to that is, do I become a Dodson fan as in him rooting for him to beat Demetrious? And I'm like, that's kind of a weird situation because, yeah, I want to be the guy to beat Demetrious, and I think I can, especially after he beat me twice. Like, of course I want to go in there and prove that I can beat him after him beating me twice. But, you know, me cheering for Dodson and becoming a John Dodson fan, you know, and him winning would obviously expedite my my path to the title. So, you know, that's kind of how it came out. But still not really a fan, you know. It's more just, you know, he's another guy in my division, which doesn't mean I'm not fans of people in my division, but the fact that he asked made me not a fan.
Oh, yeah. It's super awkward with you boys both sitting up there. I mean, it's interesting. You're in an interesting spot. Has the UFC given you any hints or indications as to who you might fight next? Or do you think it could be a situation where you sort of wait out to see who wins between Dodson and Demetrious and just fight for the title next?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, I want to fight again, and I'm not expecting to fight Demetrious on my next fight. I'm expecting him to or somebody, whatever. So I want to fight again, and I made that clear. You know, I don't have an indication as to who or when, but they know that I want to fight, you know, again as soon as I can. I made it clear to Sean Shelby and everyone else that, you know, I need to fight, you know, 3 times this year, and I want to get right back in there. So, you know, that's all we can do. You know, it's still the fight. The victory is still very recent, so we'll see what happens and what develops. But they know I want to fight, and the hard thing for me is it doesn't make sense for me in the position that I'm in to call anybody out, you know, besides really Dodson and Demetrious, who I haven't fought and who's ranked above me. So other than that, it doesn't make sense to call me out. So it is a hard position. It's kind of like, hey, find me a fight. Please let it be known that I want to fight fast. And other than that, just, you know, hoping somebody in the division, you know, sees something in me and, you know, they want to test themselves, because that's the easiest way to get a fight. So I even said in my post-fight interview, I said, can't call anyone out, but if anyone wants to call me out, you know, let Sean Shelby know and we'll set it up. So same thing, Sam. Then I kind of called out Sean Shelby as far as making a fight. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't hear it clearly now, but on the show right now, you're saying it. Anybody in the division, if you want Joseph Benavidez, if you want the Beefcake, this is your chance. Do a big shout out. And Joe, I think it would be good if a few of the fighters in the division heard this interview and jumped on Twitter tomorrow or the day after and really gave you a good run for your money so you can have those 3 fights.
Yeah, that'd be excellent. That's how the thing with Moraga happened. He didn't make it, you know, known, but, you know, he asked to fight me. And, you know, that's kind of what it's taken nowadays, you know, because I'm in such a position without, you know, where it's hard to match me up. So it really takes another guy saying, hey, you know, that'd be cool. I'd take that fight. So we'll see what happens. I'm ready, though, man. I'm ready. Like I said, I already back to training today, and you know, I trained 6 months before this fight without fighting, so I've been ready, man. So just ready to rock.
Well, given the division, you know, does need that new contender, do you think now might be the time to make Benavidez versus Dodson?
I mean, yeah, it could, but, I mean, looking at it as a matchmaking point of view, I fought him twice and Dodson fought him once. So the way I'm assuming they're looking at it is like, let Dodson fight him twice too, because then we automatically have another championship fight. You know what I mean? Where if they let Dodson fight him first, they're gonna have 2 title fights, one with me and one with Dodson, then one with me somewhere down the road. Where if they let me and Dodson fight first, I'm, you know, beat Dodson, then they only have, you know, the one contender. You know, so they have 2 contenders instead of eliminating one. You know, and eventually me and Dodson are gonna fight anyway. I mean, the division's small. We're 2 guys at the top. So when the time's right, we're going to fight eventually. But as far as a title contender, you know, having us fighting is going to eliminate one. Is how I feel, you know, I would look at it.
I completely agree with that. You do get it sometimes when the UFC does that. Like, for example, Gustafsson versus Anthony Johnson was a good example of 2 guys that people thought, yeah, they're both going to fight for the title, and then obviously one was eliminated. Going back to the UFC 187 post-fight presser, we liked your answer where you mentioned that you won't be yelling out for a title shot and you're happy to fight a few more guys before you fight the champion. Looking at the top 10, would you be interested in possibly another fight with Ian McCall or maybe even Henry Cejudo if he wins this fight at UFC 188?
Yeah, that'd be great. Cejudo would be awesome. You know, it'd be an honor to go out and fight an Olympian. He's a super tough guy. I've been impressed with his skills, so I think that would be a really, really fun fight that I'd like to compete in. Ian McCall, I mean, I already beat him, and there's really, I mean, I'd always like to beat him worse, for sure, because I don't think I beat him nearly as bad as I should have. But, at this point, I mean, he lost to me, he lost to Lineker. All he does is talk. It's one of those things. It's like, the same reason I don't really acknowledge him when he's talking is the same reason, it's not really worth it to fight me. It's just, there's no point because, something, I already beat him. I mean, obviously I would do it again and I would have fun doing it. But at this point, I don't even, I don't think about him because it's not really something I acknowledge. It's like a guy calling me out on Twitter or on the street or anywhere. It's just kind of been there, It's almost like not giving him the satisfaction, because whatever reason. Also, that fight doesn't make much sense with him losing to me and Lineker already.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, it's an interesting position. You mentioned it. You want to fight 3 times this year. You're obviously in amazing shape. Is that frustrating at all for you, Joe, knowing that you're possibly in the peak of your career right now, but because of the limitations of people not calling you out, of the division not being very big, you are limited to a very low level number of fights in a year and sort of missing out and really showing off your skills in an important time in your career?
Yeah, it's definitely frustrating, man. You just got to stay positive and, take every day as a chance to improve, and every practice, and every week that you're not having a fight is a chance to improve. And, looking at the other aspects and enjoying life without a fight, it's so hectic and, it's just so consistent, when you're fighting, there's only one thing to do is go to the gym and back and concentrate on this. So taking in some of the other aspects of my life, is like, getting married, stuff like that, and just enjoying the other aspects. So that's cool. So it's always a positive. Obviously, best case scenario, getting married and fighting 3 times a year and doing everything I can. But when you are put in that position, you can be frustrated about it and let it bother you and be like, oh, well, whatever. If I'm not fighting, I'm not going to train. I'm going to go out and do this, and I'm going to eat a ton. But for me, it's just like looking at that time as a positive and making it into a positive, even, if some people would look at it not as a positive. It's about being optimistic about it and just taking every day to improve.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does seem like you've adopted that attitude from what you said after your fight to the UFC 187 post-fight presser. You mentioned a lot about how you're not barking for a title shot. You're just going to take the fights that are put in front of you. It's not so much about the title. You're just looking to sort of, I guess, improve and have more fights and win fights. I guess with the attitude of not barking for a title shot, do you think that would change if, say, you win your next few fights and you mow down any upcoming challenges? Let's say you win your next fight decisively, or even win your next 2, 3, 4, 5 fights. You would eventually start barking for that title shot, right?
I don't know. I've never been the type to bark for it either way. I've spent my whole career, obsessing, especially since the flyweight division was built, it's just like obsessing over one thing, which is a title fight. And at the end of the day, you can't control that anyway. You can control it when you get there as far as training and stuff, but you can't control getting it. So I'm just I'm just focusing on the things that I can control. There's the fight in front of me, the practice in front of me, getting better. That way I'm ready when I get there. So, the goal is always the same. The big goal is always the same. It's just the focus is different, The focus is more on the stuff that I can control rather than, hey, give me a title shot. 'Cause at the end of the day, that's not up to me, and the only way I can make that happen is by doing the stuff that's in front of me, getting better, like you said, in my time off, going out there, winning fights, I'll say it anytime as far as barking it. I'm not going to do that, but I'll say it anytime. I'm fight for a title any week, any day. And I'm always ready for a title as far as skill-wise goes. So that's out there, and that's known. Other than that, whenever it happens, I'll be ready when the opportunity comes.
Yeah, that's right. And, speaking of the position that you're in, it's funny because there's a few people in your team who are in similar positions. Urijah, Faber, Chad, Mendes. I'm just wondering, do you guys ever sort of sit around the table and have a bit of a laugh how all 3 of you are in a similar position? It must help to have close teammates who understand sort of what you're going through in a similar position.
We talk about it, but not as much to the point of laughing about it. It's not that funny.
It's a serious conversation at this point.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it, you know what I mean? And it's funny because we can't help but talk about it, especially interviews and stuff. Chad Mendes is right there. How do you feel about this fight? Or Urijah Faber's right there. So, we're always kind of talking about it, and it's cool because we all know what each other's going through. We can all relate to each other and everything and kind of be there for each other because, we're in similar spots. Know what each other need and kind of where we're at in our career. So it's nice, just to have that support and that just that to relate to each other with.
Yeah, for sure. The tap out round you were relieved is coming around the corner, but I just want to ask you, it obviously doesn't make sense for you to call out anybody given you ranking, but with you wanting to fight so many times this year, could you see yourself, this is a hypothetical, possibly temporarily moving up to Bantamweight to take on some fun fights?
At this point in my career is not the time to go up to Bantamweight. I feel at some point, there'll be a time when I can go back up and get some good fights and everything. But right now, I don't want, my focus is completely on the flyweight division and, conquering that and getting fights there. So I don't want anyone to think, or for me even to put any focus on any other division. It's just not that time in my career, to do that, because I still know that skill-wise and everything, like, I'm right there in the flyweight division, so I'm not going to go. I want 100% of my energy to go into that, you know what I mean, and not into to another division, because that's not that it wouldn't be focusing on the flyweight division helping me in regard, but, just that little, kind of breaking focus onto something else, and that's not something I want to do.
Yeah, no, great point, Joe. Now, before we jump to the fun tap-out round and finish out the interview, just a more serious question for you. Just wanted to get your thoughts on this Reebok deal. We've spoken to a few fighters about it. Some aren't happy. Some are happy about it. Obviously, Dana White mentioned part of it will be money and a part of it will be product from Reebok. What do you think, as a guy like yourself who's obviously had quite a few fights, but also have a lot of great sponsors behind you? Is this a good thing or a bad thing when you saw the numbers? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, two aspects. For me, the numbers are great because I'm a veteran and I wasn't getting any money for sponsorships before. Like, I'm in the 15 grand sponsorship tier, and I think for 2 more fights. And I don't remember the last fight when I got 15 grand of sponsorships in a fight. And I don't know, what that, like, if that's the sponsors I was getting or the managers I had or whatever, because I was surprising people were other people who weren't as highly ranked as me or maybe as popular saying, oh, I got way more, and that's not going to cut it. I was getting this much a fight. It was surprising, But for me, the money aspect works of it, but that's not going to work for everyone. I know that's not going to work for a big percentage of the guys. A small percentage of the guys is going to work financially, and I'm one of them, so I can't complain about that. But as far as the deal as a whole, no matter where you're at, whether it's positive or negative in the money-wise, I just think it's the right thing moving forward and, just legitimizing the sport even more, as far as bigger endorsements coming in, and everything else. So, it's just that time in the sport where, there's changes going on and we happen to be a part of it. The sport's still young, so that's how some of the guys, have to look at it, whether you're missing out on money or not. In a few years, new guys coming in, they won't even think twice about it because that's the way it is. In 10 years or 20 years, that's the way it is. You come in as a rookie, you come in as this, and this is what you get paid. But I think it's the right thing to do regardless of people's money and this and that. Moving forward for the sport as a whole, it's the right decision.
Yeah, sure. You'll be pleased to know that it is time for the submission rated tap out round. Joe, you've done 2 of these with us before, so obviously we ask a bunch of fun questions and you want to answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you ready?
I can't wait.
All right, Joseph Benavidez' movie picks of the year so far.
This year? God. Oh, man, I don't even remember what came out this year.
This could go on for a while.
Because, for one, all the good movies came out at the end of last year, and in this year, it's been just kind of like, I haven't gone to the theater a ton. Like, the last movie I watched was Pitch Perfect 2. And, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard. I don't go to the movies a ton at the end of the year, and I can't really, I'm sorry, off the bat, think of a really good movie that came out this year already because it just started. But,
Ex Machina is a good movie. Have you watched that one, Joe?
Oh, yeah, no, I've heard it was good, though.
This is very disappointing because we have a lot of movie-based questions here, and I don't know how we're going to go.
Okay,
what about Mad Max?
It was
have you seen Mad Max? Sorry?
I like Mad Max as far as like the design and set and everything go. Like, I thought the costume and the vehicles and everything was like incredible. To me, the movie got a little monotonous as far as being the same. I feel like it was just kind of like it was one movie of them getting chased there. And then it's like, all right, let's do the movie all over again, just with a little bit more action. So it's kind of like, for me, action is not really my genre. I like it like a character study. Mad Max hardly talked. He wasn't much of a character. He was cool. He looked cool. He was tough. And as far as action goes, I appreciate the action scenes, the jumping, the fights, the gunfights, the chases, the cars, which I really, like I said, enjoyed the set part of it, like the design part. But for me, like, action's cool for like 10 minutes, then I want to see something else where the whole movie was action. So for what it was awesome, but it's also just not like my type of movie. And I thought it'd be a little better because people said, oh, even though it's an action movie, it's a really good movie, and like it's still this and it's still that. But I don't know, maybe people told me it was too good, and I went in, and at the end of the day, I feel it's still an action movie, but also that. It was like, if you saw 5 minutes of that movie, you saw the whole movie, to me. You know, some different things happened, some more exciting, some more impressive stunts and action. But for the most part, I feel if you watch 10 minutes of it, you saw the whole movie. It was pretty similar the whole time.
I'm just going to say that one day when you retire from fighting, which obviously will happen inevitably, I think there's a good career for you as a movie critic, Joe. And I'm sure we're not the first people to tell you that. We're just wondering, does Joseph Benavidez check Rotten Tomatoes before seeing a movie?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I usually do. I mean, like, when I'm buying them or whatever, it has the rankings, so I usually look at that. And, you know, old movies that I've already bought, I'm like, I'll see how the community loves them. But, yeah, I get on there, like, on IMDb and look at everything, you know, the writing, the director, the quotes, everything about it. Yeah, so I usually look at the rankings a lot, you know. Not that it matters because, you know, everyone has their own personal taste, but it's a nice guideline for sure.
Now, you Instagrammed a picture with Clay Guida with the caption 50 Shades of Clay. Just wondering, how would the plotline to 50 Shades of Clay, the movie, go like?
Oh, it'd be Clay probably just doing 50 random things that Clay does, like doing yoga, doing paddle boarding, bicycling with like a tent on his bike, like just all the random things that Clay does and all the random places he goes. Like, there's 100% 50 Shades of Clay because every time you talk to that guy, he's doing something new. There's something else. Like, he's a wild man. You know, there's so many levels, you know, to Clay Guida that it's perfect. But I feel a lot of it would have to do with all that random stuff. One day, one of the shades could be at this pool party in Vegas. The next day, he's in the mountains hiking, doing yoga, riding around downtown Sacramento with, like, I'm not going to lie. I mean, besides his hair and some of the clothes he's wearing, he looked pretty homeless. He's riding a bike with yoga mats and stuff, bungee cord to the back of it. So I think that would have a lot to do with it.
That's hilarious. I think there'd be like 45 shades of different burps as well when it comes to Clay Guida. Now, we need your honest opinion. This is part of the tap out round, Joe. In the movie Horrible Bosses, was Jennifer Aniston really such a horrible boss?
My fiance's right here. So that's
yeah, we know. Megan, I'm sure you feel awesome about Joe answering these questions. Just wink twice.
I mean,
she's a great boss. And Charlie's my favorite, so it's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win. But I mean, you can put yourself in Charlie's shoes, but you can put yourself in the reason why his buddies thought he was a retard also and had it made. Like, you know, there's guys out there that, like, hey, you're harassing me. Like, I have a wife. Leave me alone, you creep. You know, like, I'm not going to name any names, but I know hot chicks that creep me out. So I can see where he's coming from. Like, I know hot chicks that, like, if you looked at them, like, oh, wow, they're super good looking. But, like, you can be creeped out by them at the same time. So I can put myself in his shoes, but obviously I can also 100% put my shoes in 99% of the men in the world and be like, oh, that would be awesome if your boss just wanted to molest you every day and she looked like Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, you did a good job getting out of that situation, Joe. Now, next question. You put out a tweet. These are actually names of San Antonio Spurs. You went options for our kids' names. Two of those names were Patty and Boris. We just wanted to let you know, this isn't as much a question, Joe, but we just wanted to let you know. We think Patty Benavidez might work at a high school kitchen serving lunches, and Boris Benavidez might be the new villain in the next James Bond movie. Thoughts on that?
Either one. I would be proud of my son either way, whatever he did.
Well, we're pulling for Boris because the James Bond movies, they need some good new villains. This is in here.
But Patty's Australian.
He
Is
is,
it?
yeah.
You gotta
He is.
root
He's
for
our
Patty.
very own.
Oh, okay.
We've got a good history. You must love Australia. We've got a good history of Australians playing in the Spurs. Andrew Gay's Australian basketball legend was actually on the bench when the Spurs won the playoffs one year. He didn't play in those games, but he got a ring. So we've always been obsessed with the Spurs, and I believe one of your assistant coaches is Australian. So a lot of love for the Spurs here from Australia.
Nice. They love those foreigners, man. I'll tell you what.
This is one of the last questions here, Joe. I believe I don't even know this one was here. Not having eyebrows till you were 16. We imagine that was a difficult period in your life.
It was. I was like, when is this going to happen? Why does everyone else have those things above their eyes and not me? And it took a while. Like, I wasn't just a kid. Like, I knew what was going on. I was conscious of the fact that I didn't have eyebrows, and I knew everyone else was too. But it just took a while to grow in. On the plus side, I think along with that came my lack of body hair and facial hair as well. So I can't 100% complain about not having eyebrows till I was 16 because, like I said, at the same point, it left me with a minimal amount of body hair and facial hair. So, genetics, was negative for a while, but in the end, it paid off.
No, absolutely. And we've seen your goatee on Twitter. So just a couple of things that you have to deal with that situation. Now, you asked on Twitter, is it wrong for a man to have 3 pairs of animal print shoes? And this is an answer to you, Joe. We had a big think about it. So we got the whole team together, did analysis, market research. And the answer to that question is no. 4 pairs would be wrong, though.
What was the answer?
No.
We said
4 pairs would be too much?
Yeah, 3, you're treading the line.
Yeah.
3's fine. 4, you're out of control and someone needs to help you.
Right? I think it's wrong if you don't have 3 pairs.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's true.
I think it's wrong if you don't have 3 pairs. So that's my take on it.
I feel like we need to step up our game when it comes to animal print shoes. All right, now this is.
It's wrong if you don't have 1, at least 1. 3 max, 1 at least.
We have 0 at the moment, so that's what I'm saying. We need to step up our animal print shoe game. One of the last things we're going to do, Joe, and we sort of need your approval, possibly even Megan's, because I understand she's in the car and that's not something that we anticipated, right? We've got a tradition. Every time you come on the show, we play a little game. It's called Would You Rather. So does Joseph Benavidez still play this game?
We're both gonna.
Obviously, I'm playing too.
Hey, okay, well, this is going to be really interesting. And, all right, here we go. First one.
Do you want to go through do you want to go? Okay, we'll go through it and then we'll give our answers afterwards, I guess.
I guess we'll do it like a roundtable discussion, all right? So the first one is, you've got Elaine Benes from Seinfeld or Robin Scherbatsky from How I Met Your Mother?
Oh, Elaine, she's way funnier.
I'll go with Elaine as well because she is female.
Because she's
Are they both
female.
girls? Oh, I didn't even know the other person. I'll go with Elaine.
Okay.
I'll go with Elaine
Because Megan likes her too, so maybe you never know.
Oh my God.
I'll go with Elaine because she's great in those Adventures of Old Christine.
I'm going to go Robin Scherbatsky because at this point she probably feels bad.
That's nice of you.
Robin, if you're listening, you got a fan.
Yeah.
Not in us, but it's someone else.
There's one, and that's what counts. All right, next one is, we've got Mila Kunis or Sloane from Entourage.
Oh, Sloane.
I'm gonna go Sloane.
Joe hates Mila Kunis.
I don't like Mila Kunis. Is that wrong?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, it is wrong.
I think she's super hot, but Joe always says she looks like a goblin.
She looks like a goblin. She just is sitting there with big old eyes, like a little goblin, insect.
But Sloane for sure.
But Sloane,
basically, over almost everyone. I love Sloane.
Yeah, Sloane's an underrated attraction in the female world.
When I was single, Sloane was the attributes I was looking for in my girlfriend. Unfortunately, I never found it. Casper.
I would say Sloane, because every time I see Eric and her arguing, and Eric would have stole me off doing his thing, I'm like, you're an idiot, man. She's way too hot for you anyway.
Yep, fair.
Well, this one is going to be one that Megan, you might enjoy more. Vincent Chase or Turtle?
Ooh, Turtle wins. Turtle now or Turtle then?
Jack Nicholson,
Bringing it to you,
1965
Cash.
or Jack Nicholson now?
I guess we'll say Turtle now.
Oh, Turtle now because he loves the Yankees, and that's really a quality that I appreciate in a man.
I see.
Joe?
I'm gonna go Vincent Chase just for the downright stud that he is.
The hair.
The hair. That hair though.
Well, I'm gonna go with Turtle because I feel like he'll go harder. I feel like he'll feel bad and he'll go harder, and Vince Chase will just lie there, not do anything.
Yeah. Turtle's probably an unselfish lover.
Yeah,
for sure.
He definitely appears to be an unselfish lover. I'd go Turtle because I think you'd get more bang for your buck. Like, Turtle's funnier. He's a good guy. He'd be fun to hang around. I think Vincent Chase, like, although he's kind of like the blueprint for what could be like a really good person, good character, I don't know. I find him too much of a little bitch sometimes. Like, I don't know. He just doesn't care sometimes. I don't like that.
He might just be sitting there on his phone the whole time. Yeah, you never know.
All right, last one. Iggy Azalea or Kate Upton?
Oh, neither. Kim Kardashian.
Taylor Swift? I don't know. I would not Iggy.
No, Iggy.
I would go with Kate Upton.
Neither.
man, Iggy is.
I just don't like Iggy because neither of them I feel are like attractive in the way like I'm not attracted to either of them, but Kate Upton is just kind of there, and Iggy is annoying. Where Kate Upton is just neutral to me because I've never heard her talk. Iggy's annoying, so I would go with Kate Upton.
You know, I got to say, nothing embarrasses me more coming out of Australia than Iggy Azalea. I'm really sorry, guys. I hope you don't think Australians are like that. I got to go with Kate Upton.
I just think, I don't know. I've never been that big of a fan of Kate Upton. I actually think I really like Iggy Azalea's face, so I'm just going to go with Iggy Azalea. There's one more.
Her body is better. Iggy's body is better than Kate's.
Stop defending her, Megan, all right?
But I'm going with Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian's my vote.
Well, everybody goes with Kim Kardashian. That's just an automatic thing that happens when you start playing the game.
Right? If there's no good choice, it's just Kim Kardashian.
Yeah.
I'd go bum over boobs any day, so that's why Iggy's got my vote. Actually, there's a last-minute entrant, right? This is the final one. Terry Crews from White Chicks or Bob Sapp from Pride?
Bob Sapp.
Why Bob Sapp, Megan?
Because at the end of the day, you want the dude to be able to fight. Like, you want him to defend your honor and throw down. Like, Terry Crews and White Chicks, I feel like that couldn't happen.
Which one's Terry Crews?
That's,
the big old place guy?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Well, actually, just for my buddy who represents him, I should probably vote for Terry Crews. So, that's my vote.
I like Terry. I feel like he has a nice personality.
I like.
And he might not be able to scrap like Bob Sapp, but he's probably still intimidating.
Yeah, I feel like I'll go Terry because even though Bob Sapp does fight, like you never know, he might just like fall down on the bed and not perform. So I'm gonna go with Terry.
I'm gonna say Terry because
sure.
I was impressed with his dancing in White Chicks.
Yeah,
All right,
I feel like he has some skills.
We're gonna wrap this one up because we feel like we're taking up your whole day, John. Obviously, you and Megan have got stuff to do. Last thing to wrap up with: what are your goals for 2015? What's just something quick that we can look forward to from the Beefcake?
In 2016?
No, 15.
Oh, just more fights, man. Obviously, we're getting married. That'll be the greatest victory of my life. That'll be the most important win of my life. Is just locking up Megan for good. And then other than that, man, just any fight that I get into is going to be exciting. So I'm just continue to go out there and build a legacy and build memories for me and my loved ones and supporters. And just keep doing my thing, man, and building more fans and living life, man, just making the best of every day. So, that's, I know, pretty simple and generic and cliche, but, that's all I can really do at this moment.
Well, we look forward to seeing who you get matched up with next. Guys, don't forget to follow Joe and his adventures. Pound for pound, one of the best Twitters going around at Joe Jitsu. And once again, we appreciate you coming on the show, Joe. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Always a pleasure.